How a midfielder with almost no pace dominated everyone. Schweinsteiger, or Basti, like the fans call him, was a magician of a midfielder. He always moved through the pitch like a brick wall, terrorizing the opposition and keeping possession with an iron grip. The respect and fear he earned in some of the players of his era was just another testament to his greatness, how exceptional he was. Iniesta famously referred to him as one of the most difficult midfielders he ever encountered on the pitch. No small featuring, the only thing is, and you definitely have noticed this if you watched him play, Schweinsteiger is not a fast player, and that's putting things lightly. He's often been mocked for playing old man's football and derided as the slowest guy on the pitch. So how did he manage to seemingly cover everywhere on the pitch in his prime? How did a player lacking in speed dominate the game? If you're still watching, please make sure to like the video and subscribe. It helps grow the channel and makes it possible for you to keep seeing videos like these. Bastian Schweinsteiger was a playmaker par excellence in his prime, with unmatched football talent that bore out in the major role he played in Germany's successful 2014 World Cup campaign. Both coaches and players recognized his skill on his pitch and his ability to almost single-handedly keep the game together, hence why they often referred to him as the engine and the heart of the team. Only one player on the German team could have successfully defended a force like Lionel Messi in that year's finals, and it was the football goat, or the football god. Why was it only Basti, you may ask? In the middle of the pivotal game, he got an elbow straight in the face and was bleeding so badly in the eye that he needed to receive medical treatment on the field. Germany's coach Low told a substitute to warm up on the sideline, assuming that was the end of the game for Schweinsteiger. But Schweinsteiger just got a stitch in the eye and played on, through the pain, through the injury, and from there, he went on to make history, getting voted Germany's Footballer of the Year as a reward for his efforts at securing the cup for his country. The managers of Germany's national team also recognized his incredible football IQ, so naturally they made him into one of the most capped players of all time. Throughout his 17 years and 500 matches playing for his beloved Bayern Munich, he scored a paltry 68 goals. But before you're tempted to discount him with this statistic, where he fell short in goal scoring, he more than compensated with his creative midfielding ability. Schweinsteiger's MO was simple: tear through the midfield and destabilize the opponent's defenses, creating the opportunity for a worthy finisher. He was the driver behind all the trophies his team won at his time there, including but not limited to 8 Bundesliga titles, 7 DFB Pokal titles, a UEFA Champions League title, and the UEFA Super Cup title. And to imagine that such a talent almost never became a footballer. Yup, in another life, Schweinsteiger would have been a professional skier instead. The talent he displayed as a youth ski racer would only be outmatched by his talent as a midfielder. And it was only a natural progression too, because growing up he would travel and train with talented German skier Felix Neuruther. But in 1998, when he got a signing offer from Bayern Munich and was put at a crossroads between football and skiing, he was forced to drop skiing. Under coach Ottmar Hitzfeld, Schweinsteiger made his debut at the age of 18 as a last-minute substitute in a UEFA Champions League game against RC Lens. He instantly made an impact, creating a goal for Marcus Füllner in just a few minutes. According to a 2006 interview, while he loved both sports, he had a gut feeling that it was the right thing to do. Football was just way more popular. And boy, was he spot on! His ability was evident from day one, and he quickly rose through the ranks in the youth league. But things really took off in 2002 when his team won the German Youth Championship. This and his spectacular performances in the third division got a teenage Schweinsteiger a place in his reserves. It was right from these early days that Basti started to gain recognition for his versatility as a midfielder and his top-notch footballing instincts. Bastian can play in various positions in midfield, and he keeps to the tactics, his coach Volland said then of him. It was also at this point that Schweinsteiger started to gain more of a reputation for being a rebel on and off the pitch, getting into controversy after controversy. It seems like he managed to move on from it in more ways than one, because getting the details of his bad boy was a headache. Most of the articles detailing his bad boy past have been thoroughly scrubbed from the internet, and the others remaining almost look like they're referencing something that never happened. A few highlights are the time he once snuck his girlfriend into the team's training ground at 2 a.m. so they could use the jacuzzi. When he was caught, he tried, and failed of course, to convince the security guard that she was his cousin. He was also a party animal during his early career, sometimes partying late into the night just a few hours before his games. He was also a bit of a reckless driver. Once he got in trouble with the law for clocking 150 miles per hour. People have gotten into ghastly accidents driving below that speed. On a lesser note, he was also notorious at that point for the flashy, brightly colored hairstyles he wore on the pitch. What it took for him to snap out of it and truly start to take the game seriously was during a 2008 match against Croatia, when then Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, took him aside and gave him a stern talking to. Like with most players though, Schweinsteiger faced a bit of a lull in the middle of his career. Nowhere was this more evident than the 2012 Euro Cup opener Germany played against Portugal, where he was completely asleep at the wheel, merely a shadow of the once-in-the-generation playmaker everyone knew him as. Shortly before that, he sealed the fate of Bayern Munich in the Champions League final with an abysmal penalty miss against Chelsea in the Champions League final, in perhaps one of their biggest defeats in the club's history. This lull came right at the peak of his career when he was putting in amazing performances for Bayern Munich and was in the running by the world of football as one of the best players currently active, possibly top 3. Yup, it was right at this moment that Schweinsteiger got seriously injured. He missed almost 2 months, and by the time he was able to play again, he was woefully out of form and wouldn't get it back until several months later. But he came back in a big way in 2013, almost like he'd never left, after a fantastic season in which he carried his Bayern Munich team to the finals. Schweinsteiger once again outdid himself in a classic display of a master at work. Borussia Dortmund started the game aggressively, putting tremendous pressure on a Bayern Munich team that was also grappling with low morale. Right as Dortmund was about to mount another destabilizing attack, Schweinsteiger ran towards the ball, seized possession from the 3 Borussia Dortmund defenders within proximity, and made a pass back to Dante. This seemingly unspectacular play switched the tides and put the game in the favor of Bayern Munich, leading them to a resounding 2-1 win. Right when he played for the Bayern Youth League, one thing he was often criticized for was his slow pace and lack of energy. He was often looking over his shoulder and falling back to half pirouettes as a defensive crutch, but he made up for it with a quick wit. One thing Schweinsteiger could do was read the pitch effortlessly, simultaneously recognizing the opponent's play and the positioning of his team. This was what made him seem like he was everywhere on the pitch during his prime. He always took the time to see where he was needed to build up play. It didn't matter whether it was the defense or the opponent's goal post. At his peak, he was considered one of the best players in the world. Years after his retirement in 2019, he is still considered one of the greatest midfielders to ever play the sport. All this achieved by a midfielder who was notoriously lacking in pace. Schweinsteiger proved definitively that it wasn't speed that made the player. It was through his knack for strategy and his natural ability to lead that he ascended to become the football GOAT. And that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like the video and subscribe. If you think this video needs more eyes on it, feel free to share. What do you feel we left out in the story of Schweinsteiger? Feel free to tell us in the comments. Till next time.